Welcome to It Had to Happen podcast. This is episode 2. So we're moving. I did just want to say thank you to any and everybody that did watch episode 1. I hope that it gave you a little bit more understanding as to what the podcast was going to be covering and really just what it's about, a little bit about me, things like that. So I just appreciate all the support. I really do. I really took a leap and I was nervous. I'm not going to lie. I'm trying to get out of my shell a little bit, but this is really not out of my shell because this is what I do. I may seem like I don't talk as much, but I really do talk a lot. And I can talk about any and everything. So either way, today we are going to jump into it because the first episode was kind of like tiptoed a little bit, but these last couple of days, a few things have come up and we're going to talk about it. So I have a notebook today because if you saw episode 1, my mind was literally all over the place. So I had a bunch of stuff that I wanted to get out and I was like, I got to say this and I got to make sure I say this and I want to say this. I have my notebook today. We are going to stay on track. We're going to try. I hope everyone had a great week. Before I get started, because I will forget, the episodes will drop every Monday. I'm going to schedule them to drop at midnight. So you can listen to it on the way to work. You can listen to it on the way back from work, on the way home from wherever, or just at the end of your day. Whenever you want to listen to it, you can listen to it. The video will also be available on YouTube. I believe Spotify also shows the video as well. But majority, it's just audio. So I hope you enjoy. We're going to dive into it. So pretty much the topic that I wanted to discuss today is, I actually titled it, so love, forgiveness, and regret. This is the thing. It gets very tricky. It gets very like, who's right, who's wrong? This person said this person said, listen, I am going to put it as, I can only speak from personal experience and I can only speak for what works for me. This is what this podcast is for because everyone is different and everybody has different outlooks on things, and I would love the different outlooks and the comments and stuff like that so that we can interact and talk about it, because sometimes we don't talk about things like this. Forgiveness, we're not talking about it. So that's what we're going to cover today. So I just wanted to start with, when do you, I guess, who gets to pick and choose who gets forgiven? So pretty much like, you forgave one friend but didn't forgive another, or you forgave a family member but didn't forgive another one. What is the difference and what leads up to the decision? Now I'm gonna jump right in. Obviously it's just me here, so but this is for you to answer on your own as well, or to comment or share anything like that. But I can't speak for my past relationships with family, friends. I absolutely was not a forgiver. I wouldn't say I didn't allow them around, because there were a lot of people that probably should not have been around as long as they were. There were a lot of people that I just allowed to stay in my life. My military career was just very survival. So I think a lot of people that were in my life at that time, great people, maybe not a great friend. And honestly, I can be honest and say, I may not have been a great friend either. I truly, these last couple of years, I've realized really what a great friend is and what being a great friend is. I can definitely say that I have not always been a great friend. I will say, when it comes to forgiving someone now, I wouldn't say that I've had to forgive anyone recently. I've had a couple of family members that I've had to separate from and forgive, because the problem is when you don't forgive someone, it's just lingering. The forgive and forget is, I don't think that doesn't make sense to me. I absolutely will never forget what caused me to even be in a position to have to forgive you for something. But I feel like if you forgive someone, it's almost like a step forward. So you're making the choice to forgive and deal with what caused you to be in this position. Because a lot of times, episode 1, baby, I would run, get up on out of there. I don't want to deal with it. I block them on everything. I don't want to see them. I don't want to talk to them. Don't bring them up. Like, that absolutely is how I maneuvered in life recently. So I don't suggest it. But what I will say is, when you are choosing who to forgive and why to forgive them, one, I feel like it takes the anxiety away. It helps take the anxiety away about the whole situation, because even if they're not sorry, forgive them. Everybody deserves grace. Now, with you forgiving someone, that doesn't mean you forgive them and they're like, oh, well, I'll come back in your life and we'll go right back to how things were. Absolutely not. There are some relationships that you can forgive them and you absolutely never want to talk to them again in your life. And that's perfectly okay. There's certain situations where I feel like some people would be like, that's real rude and you shouldn't and you should want to. No, I shouldn't anything. Because the problem is that when people overstep your boundaries, or when you set boundaries and you're either disrespected or your boundaries are not respected, you're looked at like a problematic person. That's not the case. You have to set boundaries. It doesn't matter what the boundary is. It really doesn't. If I say, text me only, don't call me because you just want to test the waters. I told you to text me only. It's small things like that. And I'm not being funny, but I'm not being for real, actually, because a lot of times people will absolutely push your buttons and then be like, whoa, did y'all hear Nicola was out? She got an attitude. Don't approach her. Now, that's not said about me anymore. But I will say that is how people are, based off of, they don't tell their side or what they did, or when they threw the rocks and hid their hand, they don't tell that part. So either way, that's my spiel on forgiveness and how do you choose how or who to forgive. I forgive everyone. And this is 2025, Nicola. 2023. I wouldn't even say before that. 2023, as recent as 2023. I forgive everyone, and there are some people that are not in my life. Forgiven. And I am perfectly fine with that. It just works for me. It doesn't work for everybody, and that is okay as well. But you have to take your mental health you just have to think about yourself. Not in a selfish way, but in a way where, hey, can we make this work without me drowning myself? Or can we make this work without me, giving up more of myself than you're giving up? Can we meet in the middle? If we can meet in the middle, absolutely. Because if it's already a strained relationship, I don't have much to give. So sometimes you have to make that hard decision to do so. I'm going to stay on topic. I'm not playing. I'm staying on topic. So when does it become unforgivable? The problem is, when you disrespect me, I feel like it's unforgivable. Period. Don't disrespect me. Don't treat me like I'm replaceable. Don't treat me like you could care less about me. That is unforgivable. I'm just kidding. Not really, sort of. But in the mind state that I'm in right now, whatever you did, it is forgivable. I don't know, and I think I say that because the mind state that I'm in now, I can understand that it's not always about me. I can understand that sometimes people are going through something, and this is why they're portraying the way that they are. So I can step back, and I cannot be in that space with them. However, that's where a problem lies, because me stepping back to give you time to get yourself together also was looked at like, dang, you don't fool with me? We not cool? Why are you leaving me when I'm at my lowest? I promise you, before I left, I gave it my all. I promise you I did. So yes, I wouldn't say in my mind, nothing is unforgivable. There are certain things where I might not even tell you that you're forgiven. I may not speak to you ever again. I may not speak about you ever again, because what you did was just so not with love. That is the nicest way I can put it. And I really want to harp on the space that I'm in today. I am not portraying this, oh my gosh, this is so, I forgive you and whatever you're doing, we'll get through it. You did this to me, it is what it is. Like, no, I'm just in a space where I have so much love in my heart and I have so much understanding about myself that I know that if I hold on to anything any longer that doesn't suit me or that's not for me, it's not going to benefit me. And it's not going to benefit the other person either, because I'm either going to be extremely distasteful which I choose not to get myself to that point anyway. Or I'm just going to be very unfriendly, very unhelpful, all of the above, because I'm uncomfortable. So the signs are normally there, and I am working on communicating better, communicating that, because sometimes just disappearing on someone, that really could trigger someone. And I do have to understand that as well. But that's kind of where the communication piece comes in, because it's like, I'm trying to do this for myself. They're not even understanding what I'm trying to do. It's just a mess. And that things are misleading. You get all these misconceptions. And then you already told their friends they don't fool with me, so they can't talk to me now. It's just, it happens. And I really don't want y'all to sit here and act like it doesn't, because it does. So that is that one. So love, forgiveness, regret. We'll go back to love. Regret, right? So slight story. So I had a friend that we had been friends for years, more than a decade type deal. I was in the military for the majority of our friendship, but I went through a time when I got out of the military where it was extremely dark. I can't even really explain it. It was just very ugly. I had no idea how to adjust. I had no idea what I was doing when I got out of the military. It was very uncomfortable for me. I really was just trying to make it. So, and that is the word, I guess that's the words that I can say. When we did get together, we were drinking until we couldn't drink anymore. That was fun for us though, because that's what we always did. So when I got out of the military, I absolutely did that to cope as well. So nothing was kind of ordinary. We don't talk today. We haven't talked in years. And it ended very awkwardly. And it wasn't me who ended it. So I did a lot of self-reflection, because I could have been a better friend. But they're just not in a space right now where we can have that conversation about what should have been done or what they could have said. And that is absolutely where regret sets in. I'm going to speed it up because I don't want to get emotional, but there are certain, I might edit that out, I don't know. I might let it stay, but there are just certain people that come in your life that are there for a reason. They were supposed to be there. And it gets difficult when they are removed from your life and you just have to sit in it. So, sorry. I haven't talked about this in a while, but this is what this is about. This is where that situation where I was talking about in episode 1, where you really just have to be willing and you have to be able to try to understand and to try to see where it had to happen makes sense. If I were to try to stay in that situation and try to force myself onto that person, I don't know where I would be mentally. Where that person is right now is just, last time I spoke to them, they were not in a good space. I don't know about now, but it is just, that is regret for me. But I feel like what helps me get over that is because I'm going to take accountability. Even if I can't take accountability with them, I'm absolutely going to take accountability with myself. I've had plenty of conversations with myself. Don't be sitting here acting like you don't talk to yourself, because you definitely do. And so do I. So either way, but I've had plenty of conversations with my husband about it, plenty of conversations with other friends. I've taken accountability, and I feel like you have to leave it at that. Regret absolutely can drive you insane. It is just not, it's a feeling that no one can help, and no one can help you let go of it but yourself, literally. Somebody can't say, hey, just don't feel like that. And you're like, oh, it doesn't work that way. Regret is absolutely, it's a horrible feeling, but to come up out of it is probably one of the best feelings ever. And typically you don't really go back there. It may cross your mind because we're human. So things are going to cross our minds all the time. It's just about if you stay there and try to maneuver your way back to where you work so hard to get out of. I don't have a lot of regret recently. There are things that I have regretted in the past. Another quick story about regret, and then I'll move on to love. So when I can't do the math, but I was raised primarily by my grandmother in my early years, and she was one of a kind, Goldie, my love. Very strict though, she didn't play. but she was one of a kind. And so she passed away. But at that point in my life, I have like, and I'll dive into my childhood here in the next couple of episodes or later, but I believe that I was like visiting, go to my grandma's house every other weekend or something like that. I'm not quite sure, but I would visit her. And so as I was getting older, the weekends were getting lesser. So I was doing basketball, or I want to hang out with my friends, or whatever the case may be. And so the weekend that she passed, I actually was supposed to go, but I didn't go. And so there was a lot of regret. She's been gone for 20 plus years, and she passed in 2002. I went to her grave for the first time in 2021, I think, 2021 or 2022. It was a lot of regret. It was a lot of disbelief. It was a lot of, she's gone. Funeral was had, body was buried. That was just something that I could not come to terms with. Now, does it mean that I was crying about it every day? Absolutely not. I probably stopped thinking about it to deal with it. It doesn't make sense. It absolutely doesn't. Now that I'm saying it out loud. But if you think about it, a lot of times we do that. We just act like it never happened, or we don't talk about it because we don't want to deal with the emotions that come with it. I was an absolute wreck the morning of trying to go to her grave that has been there for over a decade. And luckily I had my cousin, I had my friend at the time. There was just a lot of support, but I had to get myself up. I had to say, okay, let's do this. We're gonna do it. And I feel like that's where the regret stopped. I did have accountability. I did own up to it. I absolutely should have been gone. I should have been showed her the respect. I should have been went there and just sat in it. But I ran for years, literally, until I came at a halt trying to figure my life out after the military. I was just in shambles. And so that's how that happened. But regret is not something that you can get rid of, and regret is not something that it'll just go away if you don't deal with it or think about it. It's always going to come back in whatever form it comes back in. So I'm going to circle that back around regarding situations with family members or friends or any. If that is meant to be, it absolutely will be. And I say that not on some, if it's meant to be, it'll come, if you let it go, it'll come back. I'm not sure about that. But what I will say is that if you take that accountability, you give it that try, you weigh your pros and cons. Is this really what I need in my life? Do I really want this to work out? If you try and you don't succeed, that is where that regret can leave, because you can't force anything. Trust me. I've tried. You cannot force anything. It is absolutely in God's timing. My view, don't run. I'm not going to harp on God, but God is very present in my life. So I have to mention that because that is my belief. But it is very important to just know that everything is in His timing, but you also have to do some of the work. There are a lot of times where I think I just uploaded a post the other day where it's just like, I had to do this, or it had to happen, or you had to move you, or you would have never moved type deal. And that's crazy work to me. When you think about certain situations, I absolutely would have never left my friend, ever, regardless. But that situation, it was removed from me. It had to happen that way because I was ride or die. I don't care what we get into. It is what it is. What you want to do. But so, last but not least, I'm going to talk about love is interesting. I think I had a question about love. Can you love someone and not forgive them? Me personally, I absolutely don't think it's possible. I don't think that the two can exist, right? So if I say that I love someone, that just means that I truly care for them. I care about their well-being. I care about what happens to them. I care about the good in them. I care about their next steps, stuff like that. If I don't forgive someone, me not forgiving them that means that there's thoughts in my head about things that they've either done to me or conversations that we had, or we're not on the same page. And I just don't feel like that you can love someone and be an unforgiving person. Don't shoot. But seriously, that's my thought and my belief. And that it's a hard pill to swallow, but I don't think that that's possible. I absolutely think that you can like someone but not love them. I think that's possible. You may like the jokes that they say, you may like the food that they cook, but you don't really care about their well-being. You don't really care about what happens to them day to day. You hope that they're okay, but you're not about to check on them all the time. There's a big difference. I feel like love is a thrown around word. I feel like love is, and I will admit, baby, I used to tell any and everybody that I love them. Today, when I tell you I love you, I mean it. And I'm not saying it unless I mean it. And I feel like the village that I have around me is the exact same way, because don't say that you love me and as soon as I walk away, you're talking about me to somebody else. Or I call you and I'm like, I need you. And you're like, oh no, I gotta go help this person, or not even a thought cross your mind to try to figure something else out, because I would do the same for you. So love is a thrown around word, but I said all that to say that my struggle is, and I thank my sister Velma for this word the other day. She just said, love through it all, right? So love regardless. And that is scary for me. It is just, there are some extremely disgusting people in this world. And I really want to be realistic, and I want you guys to be realistic as well, because I know that we all witness the same stuff. I know that we all have the same kind of people that are around us. Now, do we choose to be around them? No. Do we have a choice? Sometimes no. But loving them through it all is, I struggle with that daily still. I told you guys I'm not perfect. I'm not here to harp on, you need to love thy neighbor, you need to do this, and you need to, because I'm still struggling doing that every single day, every minute. Because some people just, in my mind, in my words, do not deserve it. That's how I feel sometimes. But then on the other hand, it's like everybody deserves love, because you don't know what they've been through. You don't know what they're currently going through. You don't know. So that's what I'm battling with. And I'm trying. And I feel like I'm doing a pretty good job, honestly, because it didn't used to be this way. So I'm always thankful for growth, you see? But it is love, forgiveness, and regret. All three different feelings, all three different meanings. And I think that they're all important things and have important meanings in our life, regardless of what they mean to you, regardless if you have no regret in your life, regardless, somebody that you has some type of regret, somebody that you is having some type of issue with forgiving someone that is having some type of issue with loving someone or loving them through it all. This is where you don't have to step up and try to save someone, but this is where it's like, just be open ears. Have your ears open. Just, not open ears. What's the word? Be all ears. That's what I'm trying to say. Because I'm very big on telling somebody good morning really could have made their day. Like I said in the last episode, there are some mornings where I'm not going to say I don't want to be here, but there are some days where I just don't want to talk to anyone. Where that comes from, I don't know. I absolutely fight it until I can't fight it anymore, because I have people that love me and I love everyone. And I don't know where I would be today if I didn't truly just work on myself and truly pay attention to my mental health, pay attention to my feelings, pay attention to just people in general. Everybody is not for you. I honestly believe that quality over quantity any day. There were so many people in the military that I knew, that I hung out with. I left the military with like one friend. And I was in there for 11 years. Everybody is not meant to be everlasting. And I say I left with one friend, but remember I said I probably wasn't a good friend either. So it's not all on the people that I was stationed with or stationed around. It was on me as well. I was literally trying to survive, not dealing with any mental health issues, not dealing with any trauma that I had, not dealing with any childhood trauma. I literally was going day by day hoping that I made it to the next. So, and I just would never want to go back to living like that. So that was a lot. But I feel like I said a lot, and I feel like somebody can relate. It may not be more than one, but I feel like one person can relate to what I was talking about. I will try my best to keep these episodes on Mondays and to keep them coming. I have guests coming, I stated before, so I'm excited about that. It may look a little different. I have people that are not in the same area as me, so I have to do it on FaceTime or something like that, but we're gonna figure it out because we got some things to talk about. So don't forget to subscribe, share. I don't care. People make fun of me. It is what it is because I'm here now. So I'm ready to talk about it. I'm ready to talk about how I overcame things, and I'm ready to just hopefully be some type of vessel to someone. It doesn't even have to be that serious. Just maybe you hearing that I made it is enough for you, and I'm okay with that. So I hope everyone has a great week, and I hope that this was beneficial to you in some way. And I just appreciate you for tuning in, and that's it. See you later.